how to draw the equivalent circuit of the transmission line. So equivalent circuit of the transmission line means, as I've told, there will be a resistance as the conductors are there will be a reactance or inductance, and there will be a capacitance. So in this first chapter, we will do derivations to calculate all of them individually and for different types of conductors. For example, a single conductor system. If you have a single phase system, then it is a two conductor system. Then it is a three phase line, three wire system, three phase line, four wire system. Okay, and then double circuit line system. And all of you have seen that the conductors that are placed on the towers or on the poles are not always in symmetrical. Okay, sometimes they are put in a horizontal direction, sometimes they are put in a vertical direction, sometimes in a triangular fashion. Okay, so depending on their position also, the value of their parameters change. So here we will start the derivation, how to calculate these resistance, inductance and capacitance of different transmission lines. Okay, so that chapter is called as transmission line parameters. Now, this derivation, after the class, I will upload the PPT on the Google Classroom. Still, if you need, you can write down, because few derivations that will be done here may not be available in the book. Okay, and sometimes you may need to follow 2 to 3 books to get all the derivation. So if you want, you can write down. I will give sufficient time, but still, as I've told, I will upload this PPT after the class is over in the Google Classroom. So as you know, generally transmission is done in three-phase, three-wire system. Transmission means from the generating station to the grid which is nearer, or the substation which is nearer to you. Okay, so up to that point, it is always a three-phase, three-wire system. And as you have learned, in India, all the transmissions are overhead lines. Till now, you don't have a underground transmission. Okay. So as I've told, all these AC transmission lines will have its own resistance, inductance and capacitance, and they are uniformly distributed along the whole length. So if I am talking about a transmission line, let us say from Hirakud to Cuttack or Hirakud to Bhubaneswar, which is around 350 kilometers distance. So all these parameters that you will be calculating will be distributed uniformly throughout the transmission line. Okay. So there are two ways of using them in your calculation or in your equivalent circuit. One is called the lumped parameter. Lumped parameter means...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sorry to disturb. Some students want to join.
It's 98 Hegel na auri achandi. So I think next class onwards you will let us do. I don't know, this is the PC I am using now is the one of the old PC of 2008. So I don't know whether it will support two simultaneous Google Meets or not. But still, next class onwards I will try to get two Google links. I think that class somebody told it is the first class, therefore so much students are there. The second class onwards may not be. So still. Let us manage with this class. Next class, I will give two different Google Meet links for one section A, and for section B, there will be no cap of 100. Okay. So let us continue with the class. Okay. So there are two ways of using those parameters. One is called as the lumped parameter. Lumped parameter means you calculate the total resistance of the circuit or total resistance of the transmission line, what is the total resistance, what is the total inductance, and what is the total capacitance, and you use them in the equivalent circuit as a single line, single value, as you have done in case of DC motor. The total resistance is written as Ra, but that is not a single resistance. They are connected in series and parallel. In the armature, the conductors are connected in series and parallel, but when you are using them in the equivalent circuit, we say it is a single resistance Ra. Similarly, if I used the resistance, inductance and capacitance as a single parameter, then it is called lump. Single, or maybe if it is a T network, they are equally divided into two halves, but still it is lumped parameter. Lumped means they are concentrated at a point. But obviously that is not the practical case. In practical case, what will happen? They are distributed throughout the 350-kilometer transmission line. Okay. So whenever you are going to get them in a single lumped parameter, obviously you are generating some kind of error. But still, the time calculation is very drastically decreased, and sometimes the accuracy doesn't matter. Where, let us say, whether the current, when you are dealing with 10,000 ampere of current, whether the current is 10,020 or 10,005, that may not be having so much of difference. Okay, so that is one way. Another is you consider them as uniformly distributed line, and then you integrate it over the whole line, so that the calculation will be much more easy. Calculation will be accurate. But obviously, in that type of calculation, it will be time consuming, as well as sometimes the solution may not be available. When you will do the solution part, then you will see. Now, the performance of the transmission line depends to a considerable extent over these constants, obviously. So, depending on the resistance, the loss in the transmission line will be calculated. Okay. And depending on all these parameters, RLC, we can say it is a simple RLC circuit. Okay. So, depending on this impedance of this RLC, the voltage drop in the transmission line will also be calculated. So, if you have a higher value of impedance, the voltage drop in the transmission line will be higher. So, you have to take care of that voltage drop, because whatever the generation is there, that is fixed. You cannot increase the generation by so much that the voltage will be higher and you will compensate that voltage drop. So you have to take other precautionary measures that will be there in the last chapter, I think. So this calculation must be good to get a better accuracy. For instance, this constant determine whether the efficiency and voltage regulation of the line will be good or poor. Obviously, already you have learned what is the efficiency of a system and efficiency voltage regulation of a system, whether it is a alternator or transformer. So what is the sending end voltage, or what is the no load voltage to the what is the full load voltage or on load voltage. So what is the difference between those two? That will give you the voltage drop or the voltage regulation. Okay. And obviously, as a consumer, we don't need that voltage regulation should be high, because if voltage regulation will be high, the voltage available to the consumer will be less. Okay. So this is, as I have told, this is the way how we represent the equivalent circuit of the transmission line. Here I have not shown the capacitor. So this is the simplest form of transmission line equivalent circuit. The first circuit that you see there, you can see there are three different resistances are connected and three different inductances are connected. So this type of circuit is called as a uniformly distributed circuit. Okay. Whereas in this bottom circuit, they are combined into a single one. But as you can see, though the capacitor is not shown, the capacitor will be between this point and this point. Similarly, this point and this point. So when you are summing up them into a single parameter, you are going to introduce some kind of error. Okay. Then there are a few other terms that will be using regularly. One is the sending end voltage, sending end current, receiving end voltage, receiving end current, and load. ZL stands for the load impedance. Okay. Now, generally, this ZL is not shown in the circuit diagram because it is customer dependent. How much load he will be operating at a particular time cannot be determined from any calculation. It is according to the consumer, and we don't have a single consumer also. Millions of consumers are there, so you cannot say what will be the value of ZL. But according to the VR value and the IR value, you will be able to calculate what should be the sending end voltage and sending end current. That is done using the ABCD parameter that you have already learned in the electrical circuits. So what we need to concentrate is what is the voltage available to the load, what is the current, that is drawn from the load side. So if you know these two, you use the transmission line parameters or ABCD parameters and calculate the value of sending end voltage. Sending end voltage means what? The generated voltage. Okay. Sending end voltage and the sending end current. Now, first of that is resistance, and we don't need to do much about the resistance because the resistance value will be written on the transmission line, and depending on the type of material that is used, that is fixed. Okay. It doesn't depend on the orientation or how the conductors are put on the towers or poles. So therefore, resistance calculation is not required. We will do only the calculation of inductance and capacitance. Obviously, you know what is resistance, and when you solve problems or when you will see the standard value of different conductors, it will be written either in terms of per kilometer or in per meter. Okay, so resistance per meter will be given or resistance per kilometer will be given. Similarly, inductance and capacitance. Sometimes inductance is given in Henry per meter, or if it is given in the ohmic value, because 50 Hz system is the standard system in India, so we don't need to give the frequency value. So these parameters will be shown either in per meter value or per kilometer value. Okay, so let us start the calculation of the inductance. And one more thing, this resistance value is not constant also. Why? Because these conductors are bare conductors which are subjected to different atmospheric conditions, including the sunlight. So during the day, when, let us say, if you measure the resistance at 1 o'clock, the resistance will be at its peak value, because with heating, the resistance value is going to increase. Okay. Similarly, if it is a winter season, the resistance value will be less because there is a drop in the temperature. So you need to take that also into account, and you know how to calculate the resistance. If you know the basic value of resistance at a particular temperature, you know how to calculate it at a different temperature. Okay, that is, I think that is taught in physics. Now coming to the inductance. Now, inductance means it will be always, as this formula says, flux linkage per current, per unit current. Okay, so when you calculate the inductance, we will first calculate the flux linkage. Now, flux linkage are generally of two types: internal flux linkage and external flux linkage. Okay, so when our alternating current flows through a conductor, a changing flux is set up which links the conductor. Now that flux, already we have studied in electrical circuit, there is a self-induced EMF and there is a mutual induced EMF. Similarly, so the flux that is produced in the conductor will also link the same conductor as well as will link the conductor which are nearer to that one. Okay, so those flux which will link the same conductor will be called as the self-linked flux or internal flux linkage. Which are the flux which will be linking the other conductors, we will call that the external flux. Okay, so they will be calculated different separately. Due to this flux linkage, the conductor possesses the inductance. Now mathematically, inductance already we know it is flux linkage per unit current. Okay. So how will you do the calculation? Let us first go to the internal flux calculation. Okay, let the capacitance value. How the capacitance? Last class I have told you there are two types of capacitance. Okay, let us first go through this initial topic. Capacitance. Obviously, as I have told, the two conductors are carrying high voltage, and in between the intermediate is the insulated air. Okay, so that behavior of two electrodes which are separated by an insulator, which is air, will have a capacitive effect. Now there are two types of capacitor. One is between the lines, and the second is between the line and the earth, because earth is considered to be at 0 volt and the line, let us say 11 kV line, the difference or the distance between them is air, so it is equivalent to having two electrodes of different potentials and separated by a insulator. So any two conductors of an overhead transmission line are separated by air, which acts as an insulation, and therefore capacitance exists between the two overhead conductors. The capacitance between the conductor is calculated like this. It is charge per unit potential difference. Okay, so when you do the calculation, again you will go to that. So this is how the circuit, when you consider the capacitor, is shown. Okay, so the capacitors are generally, now whether it is a three-phase circuit or a single-phase circuit, generally the equivalent circuit is drawn in per phase. Okay, like the transformer or like the alternator. So equivalent circuits are drawn per phase. So this bottom line will be generally considered as the neutral. So this potential or this capacitance is line conductor with respect to neutral. Okay. Now through this capacitance, now whenever you have a capacitance, a charging current flows to there. Okay. Now what is the effect of this charging current? Now let us say this is the sending end current. From the left hand side, the sending end current is coming. Out of that, part of that is going to pass instead of going towards the load, part of that is bypassed the load and flowing through the capacitor. So what will happen? The power flow towards the load will decrease. Okay, and more will be the capacitance, more will be the current which will be passing or bypassed by the load. So there will be more and more, there will be less and less power transfer towards the load. So that is the effect of capacitance. As I have told, the calculation you will be doing like this. Generally, this is not done because the parameter value of resistance is directly given in the problem. When you will solve also, you will get the resistance value mentioned there. You don't need to write that rho L by A, but still this is for your knowledge that how the resistance is calculated is rho L by A depending on the cross-sectional area and the length of the conductor and the resistivity of that material. You will be calculating the resistance of the transmission line. And as I have told, the conductors, those are used for transmission and distribution, are bare conductors and they are subjected to different temperatures of the atmosphere. So if the value will be given, it will be given for a particular temperature. Okay, so the resistance of a particular conductor is given means it will be given for a particular the resistance at a particular temperature. So if you are operating at a different temperature, you know how to calculate it. Let us say R2 is the new resistance, in R1 1 plus alpha 1 T2 minus T1. So T2 is the new temperature, T1 is the value of temperature for calculating R1. So you can calculate the new resistance using this formula. Okay. Now already you have read about the skin effect, but here the skin effect will be dominant because you have conductors moving parallelly and it is going to carry AC. If now skin effect, always remember, as a transformer is only used in AC, similarly skin effect is only possible or there only in case of AC. In DC we generally don't have that. Why that is there? Because in DC we don't have that flux linkage concept or the inductance concept. Okay. So if you read the first statement, when the conductor is carrying steady state current, which is the DC, the current is uniformly distributed over the whole cross-sectional area of the conductor. However, alternating current, when alternating current flows through that conductor, it doesn't distribute uniformly. Rather, it has the tendency to concentrate near the surface. Okay, and that particular concept of the current to move towards the surface of the conductor is called as the skin effect. As the current tries to flow through the skin of the conductor, it is called skin effect. Now, what is the reason behind the skin effect is the flux linkage. Okay, so here at this point the flux linkage is maximum, and because it has to carry the flux of all the total conductors, and as you go towards the surface the flux linkage decreases. Okay, so flux linkage is higher, maximum at the center means what? The inductance at that particular center will be maximum. Inductance is maximum means the reactance or impedance will also be maximum at the central part. And as you go away from the center, the flux linkage decreases. So the inductance and the impedance of that to the current flow decreases. So I can say in this conductor, when the AC flows, the center portion provides higher impedance compared to the skin section. And therefore, as the current always tries to flow through the low impedance path, it moves towards the surface instead of the central part. So more concentration of current will be towards the skin effect or the surface of the conductor, and less current flows through the center part of the conductor. Now, the effect of that is your total conductor is actually not fully utilized. Okay, because as the concentration of current is not uniform, let us say this conductor has a rating of I. Now you may not be able to flow I current in it because most of the I will be flowing through the surface of the conductor. So it will heat up the conductor, whereas this part will be having lesser current, but still due to the over concentration of current or higher current density in the surface, this will be going for higher rating. Okay, so you have to limit the current below the value of its actual value. So you will not be able to use the current rating of the conductor. Okay, so I can say skin effect increases the resistance of the or the impedance of the conductor. So due to skin effect, the effective area cross section of the conductor through which current flows is reduced, and consequently the resistance of the conductor is slightly increased when carrying alternating current. And therefore, when you do the calculation in transformer in case of any AC machine, if you calculate the resistance by voltmeter ammeter method or multimeter, generally we multiply it by 1.3 to 1.6 times for AC. Okay. Now, these are the factors on which the skin effect will be depending. Obviously, the nature of the material, diameter of the wire. More will be the diameter, lesser will be the current at the center. And the frequency, because as I have told, it is related to flux linkage and the inductance, and therefore this also increases with increase in frequency. And shape of the wire, whether the conductor is circular in shape or rectangular in shape or hexagonal in shape, that also will be a factor of skin effect. Okay. Now let us go to the calculation. Now this is the first step of calculating the inductance of the conductor. So this is the conductor. So I will be concentrating. This is the cross-sectional area and this is the length. Okay. So if I will enlarge this one, let us say this is a conductor of radius r. I am taking a small section of that. Okay. So at a distance of x, a small cross-sectional of thickness dx. Okay. So the inductance of the circuit is defined as the flux linkage per unit current, as I have already told. Therefore, in order to find the inductance of a circuit, the determination of flux linkage is of primary importance. So in all the calculation, we will be first finding the flux linkage and then divide it with the current to find out the inductance. Now here in this particular circuit, let us consider a straight cylindrical conductor. Generally, most of the conductors are cylindrical. So when you do the calculation also, you will see most of the calculation are generally done for cylindrical type of conductors. Okay. So long straight cylindrical radius r carrying a current I amperes, as shown in the figure. This current will set off a magnetic field. The magnetic lines of force will exist inside the conductor as well as the outside of the conductor. As I have told, there will be two types of flux: self-induced or self-linked flux and the mutual linked flux. If you have more than one conductor, there will be mutual linked flux. Otherwise, there will be only self-linked flux. Both these fluxes will contribute towards the inductance of the conductor. So let us first go to the calculation of self-linked flux or the internal flux. As I have told, that is called internal flux. The outer side is called as the external flux. I think all of you have learned the Ampere's law. It is given at the bottom. So this is the formula for Ampere's law. So if you want to calculate H, it will be Ix by 2 pi x. So using that formula, magnetic field intensity at a point x meters from the center will be given by current by the cross-sectional area of that one. Okay. So Ix by 2 pi x. So area enclosed by that one. Now assuming a uniform current density, what will be Ix? Now what is uniform current density? Initially we are not considering the skin effect. So if I will assume it is having a uniform current density, means from the center to the surface the current is equally distributed. So if that is done, what will be the current at this particular cross-sectional area will be calculated by equally distributing it, dividing it by r square and multiplying it by that particular area. So current enclosed in that particular section up to x, Ix will be pi x square. Total current is I by pi r square is the current density into area of cross-sectional is pi x square. So that is the ratio between total current to the current in the section Ix. So if I will put that value of Ix in this formula of Hx, Hx will be given as x square by r square into I by 2 pi x. So that is x by 2 pi r square into I. Now all of you be careful that most probably the whatever trend is going on, so your college is going to open soon. So this time at least make up your mind that you are going for an offline exam. Okay. So when you are reading a particular one, don't think that I am going to give a MCQ type answer. Okay. So according all these derivations that will be done is individually, these are long questions. Along with that, the derivation, you will be solving problems on that. Okay. So if you will not adapt your mind that I am going to give a written exam of 70 marks or 80 marks, it will be difficult to learn, because always once you are accustomed to that easy path, it is very even the normal path becomes very difficult, isn't it? So as I have told, Now or then, maybe few schools are opening, and yesterday there was some circulation. I don't know whether it is correct or not, but you can assume that maybe in 1 month's time the college will be going to open, maybe less than that. Okay. So both internal and semester exams will be on offline mode. So from that, hx will be x by 2 pi r square into I. Then the flux density at the considered point will be given by B equal to mu h. Okay. So here mu 0 mu r into h. For air, mu r is 1, because generally all the conductors are placed in atmospheric condition, which is the insulator is air. So most of the time mu r will be assumed to be 1. Okay. So if I will put that value of h here, so Bx is mu 0 into xi by 2 pi r square. So flux, I am taking only a cross section. I am calculating for unit area. Okay, so therefore the length of the conductor here, Bx is the flux density into area. Area I am taking, it is of length. So this area I am taking. Okay, this length I am taking as 1 meter, and this distance is dx. So what is the area which is utilized there? Dx into 1. Okay, and flux density is Bx. So what is the total flux in that particular zone of 1 meter will be given by this equation. Now this flux links with the current Ix only. Already we have calculated. So therefore flux linkage per meter length of the conductor is given by phi x square by phi r square into d phi. I substitute the value of d phi in terms of Bx, which is here. So the final equation of flux linkage is mu 0 I x cube by 2 pi r fourth. Okay. Now, if I want to calculate the total flux linkage due to the internal one, the x value is going to change from 0. At the center it is 0, at the surface it is r. So the variation will be from 0 to r. X variation is from 0 to r. And integrate it over the whole length. So you will calculate the final value as mu 0 I by 8 pi. And mu 0 value, you know, 4 pi 10 to a minus 7. So if you put the value, it becomes 1 by 2 10 to a minus 7 into I. So this is the value of internal flux linkage. This is the value of internal flux linkage. Mu 0 I by 8 pi. Sometimes you can write directly this one, or half into 10 to the minus 7 into I. Okay. So now this is how you will be calculating the internal flux linkage. Now let us go to the external value of flux linkage. External means at a point which is outside the conductor. Okay. So now let us calculate the flux linkage due to the external flux. Now you can see this point is at a distance of x, and I am calculating it for again same with a width of ds. Okay. So referring to that figure, again hs will be I. Now in that previous case, you are having different value of I, because at that point you are inside the conductor. So the current which is enclosed by that particular point here, what is the current enclosed up to a distance x, that you are taking. But here, once you are outside the conductor is carrying the whole current. So we don't need to calculate again what is the current enclosed. It is total current I. Okay. So therefore, again, if you apply this Ampere's law, Hx will be I by 2 pi x. This I is the total current carried by the conductor, which as previously it was Ix. Okay. Same method, find out the flux density. It is mu 0 Hx by, so that is mu 0 I by 2 pi x. Again, mu r is taken 1. The flux d phi through a cylindrical cell of thickness dx and axial length of 1. So as I have told, we are calculating it for 1 meter of length. So for axial length of 1 meter, so 1 into dx into bx, same as the previous case. So just put the value of bx there. So mu 0 I by 2 pi x. And the flux d phi links all the currents in the conductor once and only once. That means d psi equal to d phi. Previously it was x square by r square. So here it is the total current linkage. So there is no distribution of flux. So total flux linkage will be putting the value of d phi mu 0 I by 2 pi x. And again, what is the value of ranging of x? it is from the surface of the conductor, which is at a distance of r to any distance to infinity. Okay, so if you integrate it from r to infinity, you will be calculating what is the flux linkage in the due to external flux linkage. Now here mu0 I and 2 pi are constant, so it is 1 by x dx, integration of 1 by x dx. So that gives you ln term. So when you will do the calculation next, you will see that ln terms will be there. So what will be the total flux linkage? Internal flux linkage plus the external flux linkage. Okay. The internal flux linkage, what we have calculated, mu0 I by 8 pi. External flux linkage that we have calculated, integration of r to infinity, this one. So mu0 by 2 pi x I into dx. So taking mu0 I by 8 pi common, it is 1 by 4 plus integration of r to infinity dx by x. Now, if I will calculate it between 2 points, let us say d1 and d2, this will be d1 and this will be d2. Okay, so if I put that, then will be 2 into 10 to the minus 7 I ln d2 by d1. For this half only I am talking about. Okay, so d2 by d1. Now here, when you will calculate the total flux, always there is a constant here. If I multiply it, so there will be a constant term here and there will be a variable term of. This term is constant. I said this term is constant and this term depends on at what distance you are calculating the total flux linkage. Okay. Now let us use the same concept for a single phase line. Single phase line means we have two conductors. Okay, one is the phase and other one is the neutral, and you will see that both of them will be carrying the same current but in the opposite direction. If the phase is carrying a current from the source to the load, the neutral will be carrying current from the load to the source. Okay, so if one is I, the other one will be taken as minus y. That you have to keep in mind. So a single phase line consists of two parallel conductors which forms a rectangular loop. Okay, loop of one turn. When an external current flows through such a loop, a changing flux is set up. The flux changing links the loop and hence the loop possesses inductance. Now see how the calculation will be done. Now first we will do the calculation for the conductor A, then we will do the calculation for conductor B. Let us consider a single phase overhead line of two parallel. The same thing is written. Now as I have told, if one is phase, the other one neutral, this will be carrying a current from source to load, and this will be carrying a current from load to source. So the direction of current will be opposite of each other. So sum of these two currents is equal to 0. Okay. So it is written that conductor A and B are spaced d meters apart. Conductor A and B carry same amount of current but in opposite direction because one forms the return path, and therefore IA plus IB will be equal to 0. In order to find the inductance of conductor A or B, we shall have to consider the flux linkage with it. There will be a flux linkage with the conductor due to its own current. The current through the conductor A is written as IA and through B is written as IB. So there will be a flux linkage due to its own current IA and also due to the mutual inductance effect of the current IB. Okay. Flux linkage with the conductor A due to the internal flux, as I have told in that previous derivation. Okay. So mu0 I by 8 pi, or if you put the value of mu0 4 pi as into 10 to the minus 7, half into that value. So half into 10 to the minus 7 I is the internal flux linkage, and external flux linkage. The second conductor is at a distance of d. So external flux linkage will be calculated from the surface of that conductor to a distance d. So therefore, in that particular integration, it will be r to d. Okay, in this particular integration, the distance will be the starting will be r, the end point will be d. So psi A external will be 2 pi 10 to the minus 7 I ln d by r. So what is the total flux linkage? Just add them. Anyone else is there to join? How ke achandi je join kari par nahanti? Okay. So this is the total flux linkage due to internal and external flux. So just adding them. This was 2 into 10 to the minus 7. It is half into 10 to the minus 7. So taking 10 to the minus 7 common, it is half plus 2 into ln d by r. So hence the total inductance of the conductor. I have to calculate the inductance flux linkage for unit current. So LA will be written as psi A by I. So I will be cancelling here. So and this 1 by 2, there is a 2 here. So if I take 2 into 10 to the minus 7 common, it becomes 1 by 4. Okay, here. Okay, so here this 1 by 4, this is the ln term. So this 1 by 4 is just to simplify the calculation is written as r e to the minus 4. So that if I not r, so this will be written ln e to the power 1 by 4. Correct? Ln e to the power 1 by 4. So that it becomes 1 by 4. Ln e and is 1, so it becomes 1 by 4. So ln e to the power 1 by 4 into ln d by r. So sum will be having a product. So this becomes this formula. And if I simplify it, this becomes 2 into 10 to the minus 7 ln d by r dash, where r dash is r e to the power minus 1 by 4. Okay, that particular term is known as the geometric mean radius. Okay, what is the use of that we will learn later. So now by doing that, we remove this constant. Okay, so this value of r dash, or what is the value of e to the power minus 1 by 4 depends on the size of the conductor. But for a solid cylindrical conductor, you calculate e to the power minus 1 by 4, you will see that it will be 0.7788. Okay, so it is a constant. So if your conductor is cylindrical and solid, always the value is fixed, that r dash will be 0.7788 times of the radius of the conductor. Now it is a loop inductance. That means the current will pass enter through the conductor A, pass through the load, and will return through the conductor B. So I can say the current flows like as if it is a series of these two inductance. One is the inductance in the A conductor, the other one is the inductance of the B conductor. So therefore total inductance will be just the addition of LA and LB, and both of them of equal dimension and equal current, therefore they are exactly equal. So if I multiply 2 here, 2 is multiplied in this case, or 2 you can multiply 4 into the minus 7 ln d by r dash, or if I multiply 2 here, 10 to the minus 7 1 plus 4 log d by r. So this is the final formula for a single phase line. What will be the inductance of a single phase line? This is how the calculation is done. Okay. Now this is for a group of conductors. In the previous case only we have 2 conductors. If you have more than that, or you have a group of conductors, this is how you will be doing the calculation. Okay. So for each of the conductor, we will calculate the flux linkage using that formula. What is the formula here? What is the flux linkage? Total flux linkage is 2 into the minus 7 d by r dash. So like that, if you have more than 2 conductors, d1 p by r dash, okay, d2 p by r dash, like that, depending on, let us say p number of conductors are there, or sorry, you are calculating at a point p. So this all the distance will be all the point p. So the distance from the third conductor, distance from the second conductor, distance from the first conductor, and this will be the radius. The first case is with the radius. When we consider the first conductor, it will be radius. The rest of the conductors will be the distance. Now this will again come when we will do the calculation for multiple conductors. Then what will be the total flux linkage? Just addition of that. Once you get the total flux linkage, if all of them, or if you are calculating for a distance which is at infinity, then distance of all the conductors will be same. So if I consider that you are considering a point which is approaching unity, so all those conductors which are kept near about each other will have equal distance to infinity. So that will be replaced by the point D. Once you have flux linkage, then you divide it by the current and you calculate the inductance. Okay. Now, again, you will come to that. Let us solve, see the one of the problems there. Book, whatever the chapters are there, they may not be in the same uniform manner or same uniform pattern. Okay, so you have to find out the different chapters that are required. As you can see, the first chapter is introduction. It is not required. You have to go for line parameters. Power system is a huge area. So there is a book called J.B. Gupta, which is a very thick book that includes power system protection, and the transmission line distributor, like that. 3 to 4 subjects are in a single book. So therefore, all these books are having multiple subjects. So you have to only select that particular chapter. Like this chapter, we will be okay. This has come. All these derivations are there. The initial derivations are same. As I have told, you have to go for different types of configuration. This is for the first one that we have done. See here, this is a double circuit line. How to calculate it for a double circuit line? Okay. Inductance of a single phase two-way system that we have done. I'm going to the problems. Similarly, three-phase line. Three-phase line we will do in the next class. Let us go through 2 or 3 problems. Okay. Here, a single-phase line has 2 parallel conductors, 2 meters apart. So D is given as 2 meters. The diameter of each conductor is 1.2. So R is given as 1.2. Calculate the loop inductance per kilometer of the line. Okay, so spacing between the conductor. Now always remember, as it is a ratio, if you use them in the same form, either both of them in meter or both of them in centimeter, it will be, calculation will be same. But be careful that look at the, here it is written in meter, here it is written in centimeter. So don't blindly use those values. Either you have to convert all of them into meter or all of them as centimeter. The result will be same because it is a ratio of D by R. Okay. So D is known, R is known. So directly you can put in that formula of 10 to the minus 7 into 1 plus this one. 10 to the minus 7 into 1 plus 4 log ln D by R. So same formula they have used. Minus 7, 1 plus 4 ln D by R. So whatever they are calculating, it is per meter. Because as I have told, when you have done the calculation, we have taken, when we calculate the flux linkage, we have taken a distance of 1 meter. Okay. X into 1, but it is asking that what will be the value for kilometer. So just multiply 1000, and obviously you know the inductance will be in Henry. So this is one of the basic value you can see, 2. This is the inductance of transmission line. Okay. Similarly, if you see the next problem, a single phase transmission line has 2 parallel conductors 3 meters apart. So D is given as 3 meters. The radius of each conductor is 1 centimeter. So R is given as 1 centimeter, and D is given as 3 meters. Calculate the loop inductance per kilometer length of the line if material of the conductor is copper, steel, with relative permeability of 100. Okay. So depending on this permeability, because we have taken mu R as 1, sorry, the air we have taken for 1, but if I will take the relative permeability of 100, accordingly you have to put the value in that. Okay. So if I will take that, whatever. So wherever the mu terms were there, along with that, okay, here, up, then 8. Okay, here, mu 0 I into 2 pi, this was the formula. So wherever mu 0 is there, mu R will automatically coexist with this one. So if the permeability is not, or the value is not taken to be unity, or it is considered that it is not air, then you have to multiply that particular mu r in this equation. So the whole equation will be multiplied by the term mu r. Therefore, you can see loop inductance is 10 to the minus 7 mu r plus ln d by r. So that is a formula. Similarly, with copper mu r is equal to 1, with steel mu r is equal to 1, it is given. For copper generally it is 1, for steel it is given as 100. So putting that value, these are different values of inductance. Okay, so this is how there are different types of problem. Next class again we will start the solution. This is a three-phase symmetrical system and unsymmetrical system, because as you can see in transmission line, the conductor sometimes they form a triangular structure. This is the tower. Okay, so all the conductors may be, and sometimes you will see that the separators are there. Okay, in between the two poles, if the conductors are at a distance, due to wind they may touch each other. To avoid that, we have separators. Okay, and you, by looking at the separators, you can say whether it is a symmetrical or unsymmetrical. Generally the separators are like this, or if you work in college, the separators are connected in front of the ladies hostel. They are horizontal or vertical. Okay, so they are not uniform. The distance between the conductors are different. But if they are uniform, the calculation will be different. If the distance is ununiform also, the calculations are different. Okay, so how this calculation will be done? Next class we will start with that one, three-phase. And next class I will try to post two links. I think the one link is not sufficient. Okay, so today we'll stop at this point. As I have told, make up your mind to solve different long questions, not the MCQ. So when I am going through a particular subject, please, I have already given the soft copy of the book, or you can take any other book. Okay, because the concept is same how to calculate it, but solve few problems. Okay, problems will be, the problem that we have solved is